Hi, the Mudbrooker here. I started to work on my next video in my cast iron series, but I'm at a point where most of it needs to be done outside. This is outside. So yeah, that ain't gonna happen right now. So what I'm going to do instead is show you guys how to make a nice baked custard. As always, the most important ingredient in any recipe is alcohol, and today is an Irish whiskey sort of a day. Aaron go bra. Anyhow, in order to make this recipe, you're going to need a baking dish, 2 baking dishes, one for your custard and one to sit your custard bowl in that'll be filled with boiling water later. You can just see it over here, but I have a kettle of boiling water handy, and it must be boiling. That's important. On to the recipe. You'll need 2/3 of a cup of sugar. You'll need a dog that doesn't want to go outside. Get over here, Milo. You just came in. Wretched beast. For spices, I like to use a little ginger, a little bit of cinnamon. Come on. Where'd it go? There it is. Some nutmeg. This is a fresh nutmeg, but you can use powdered. My old grater isn't the best, but half a teaspoon or so of each, pinch of salt, and about a teaspoon or so of vanilla. Some of the stuff out of my way. And to that we add 6 eggs. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Once you got your eggs and your sugar all together, take a whisk. This is an old milk replacer beater, actually. Stir them together until your sugar starts to dissolve. You get your yolks broke up. And then you want to beat it good until it's nice and foamy. The foam is important because after you bake this, that will make a nice little crust on top. This is going to take a couple of minutes, so I'll stop the camera and I'll come back once I got this all beaten. As you can see, there's a nice layer of foam on top of that. This part is optional, but I like some raisins in my custard, so we'll put a handful of raisins in there. Kind of drop them in down the side. That's plenty. That's maybe a quarter or a third of a cup. And you want to carefully add your milk and pour it in down the sides, because you don't want to disturb the foam too much. This is 3 cups of milk, by the way. And once you got your milk in, you want to very carefully stir it. Like I said, you don't want to break up that foam too much. But you want to get your milk and egg mixture combined pretty thoroughly. Okay. This is ready to go into a 320-degree oven. And I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. Okay, I've set the custard in the baking dish in the oven, and now we'll carefully pour in our boiling water. Until the bigger dish is just about full. You'll notice I have the edge hanging over the corner, hanging out a little bit. Carefully push that back in. Slopped her a little bit. That's why you use a spoon so you don't slop boiling water on yourself. Close her up and let it bake for an hour and 20 minutes. Okay, this has been baking for an hour and 20 minutes. Before I take it out, I'm going to check and make sure that it's done. You do that by sticking a knife into the middle and pulling it out. If it comes out clean, it's done. So I'm going to put the camera down and take this out, and I'll be right back. I've taken that out, and you can see what a nice beautiful crust that foam turns into when you bake it. Also, when you take it out, lift it out carefully and just leave that pan full of hot water in the stove and let it cool off before you try to dump it, because otherwise you can slop boiling water on yourself and get burned pretty badly. Once this cools off a bit, I'll be back and give it a taste. This has been sitting and cooling for about 45 minutes and it's ready to eat. I like it a little bit warm yet. Take a butter knife and just kind of scrape down the edge a little bit to get the crust loose from the side of the bowl. If you hear kind of a rattly, clattering sound in the background, that's just sleet hitting the window. And then you just dish some up. What you should end up with is something that's more of a firm, solid curd than a pudding, like a stirred custard tends to be. Get some raisins in there, and we'll give that a taste. Turned out just like it should. So that's how you make a nice baked custard. Go ahead and give it a try. It's not very difficult, and I hope you enjoy.